All right, let's get this started. Let me just send this out. It's not fair, but it's okay.
Guess what? You're going to have to be resilient in order for you to make it through those challenges and those obstacles that are going to be thrown at you weekly, day to day. Who knows? But the good thing is that if you do what's hard now, your life will be easy later. But if you do what's easy now, which is quit, which is not doing it, your life will be hard later, family. So that's pillar number 3, resilience. Pillar number 4, prepare yourself for this one, is that you got to be fearless. Remember, guys, fear, FEAR, stands for false evidence appearing real. Stop being scared of going to do the things that are going to take you to that next level. Okay? Stop fearing failure. Stop fearing doing the things that make you uncomfortable. Because not only does fear stand for false evidence appearing real, if you want to add another acronym to it, the one that I use is face everything and rise. Face every challenge, everything that is put on your path, face it head on and rise. You can't be scared of anything in this journey. You know why? Because most people are scared. Most people live in fear. You got to be the one that's a savage. You got to be the one that's willing to do whatever it takes. If you got to be the first one up every morning, you're the first one up every morning. You're the one that got to go talk to 10 new people on your business. Go talk to those 10 new people about your business. You're the one that got to go out there and read books every day and listen to audios and take a flight to a place that you've never been. Then be the one that does those things. One of the things I did to get rid of all my fears, I jumped out of a plane in Dubai. I had a huge fear of heights and doing things like that. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just do it and face one of my biggest fears in life and just do it. And ever since I did that, it changed my life. I'll never forget the day someone said to me, they were like, yo, I know somebody that jumped out of a plane and 2 years later he became a millionaire. I'm like, well, guess what I'm gonna go do? I'm gonna go jump out of a plane so I can be the millionaire too. And you know, I actually jumped out of a plane about a year and a half ago. And honestly, within the next 6 months to a year, I'll be a 7-figure earner. So I think the story's gonna be the same for me. I jumped out of a plane, and now 2 years, 2.5 years later, I'm a millionaire as well. Why? Because I got rid of all the fears. There's no fears in my heart anymore for anything. I could talk in front of thousands of people on stage. I could talk to anybody. I could close any business owner. You could put me in front of anything, any challenge. I'm ready to go. You could put me at the front of any pack, and I'll lead that pack. I'm not scared of nothing. What do I got to be scared of?
All right, let's get this call rocking, fam. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. I'm still being challenged, but we're gonna run it no matter what. All right, guys. So give me 1 sec right here. We're gonna run this no matter what. It's still black screen on my side, so hopefully, let me know if I'm positioned well right here, because I really can't see. I tried everything. I reset it. I quit everything, but for some reason, it still is not working. I don't know what's up with YouTube today. So let me know if I'm positioned good. I'm not gonna let this. I'm not gonna let this stop us. I'm gonna be live on YouTube, obviously, as well. Let me just get this set up right here for us. There we go. Boom. Okay. Let me just lower it a little bit. Amazing. Here we go. All right, guys. So let's get this call started, because obviously this morning the enemy is trying to stop us, but we're not gonna allow that to happen, because the enemy just doesn't want you guys to hear this message. It is a powerful message, and it is an agreement that we live by, right? So YouTube be tripping sometimes. That's the only thing I don't like about YouTube. YouTube sometimes do be tripping, but we can't let them stop us from what it is that we're doing, because it's funny because it says my camera is on and everything is Gucci, but we just bless them. We pray for them. We can't see you on YouTube. It says upcoming. Check my channel. It should be there. But we're gonna run it regardless, fam. So welcome, Grand Rising Thursday. I hope everybody is having a beautiful start to their morning. I pray that everybody is working, striving, and becoming better versions of yourselves. I do apologize for the inconvenience and the technical difficulties that YouTube sometimes brings us. We've been trying to get this figured out all morning, but we're just gonna run it like this because the message has to be shared. At the end of the day, we gotta share the video, and that's what it's all about. So today we're going to be talking about the power of the four agreements. Now, real quick, if you've ever read the book The Four Agreements, put some fours in the chat box if you've ever read The Four Agreements. Just want to know who has read these books, who hasn't. For me, this is one of my favorite books of all times. Okay, every time somebody asks me, Nano, what's your favorite book? The first thing that comes to my mind is The Four Agreements. Okay, so it is a phenomenal book. I think it's a book that we all need to read, not just once or twice, but we need to read this book many, many, many times. Okay, as you guys can see, I have this book in English and I have this book in Spanish. Okay, I have this book in multiple different languages because of what this book has done for me. Okay, and if you have not read this book, okay, I highly recommend you to add it to the list of books that you're going to read this year. Okay, this book is absolutely life-changing. It gives you four agreements to live by. Okay, and I live by these four agreements. Like, I truly live by the four agreements, which are very, very powerful. Let me go over them really, really fast, and then I'm going to dive deep into each one individually, right? Because the four agreements go as such. Number one is be impeccable with your word. Okay, be impeccable with your word. Very important. Number two, don't take things personally. All right, don't take things personally. All right. Number three is don't make assumptions. All right, and then number four is always do your best. Okay, and those right there are the four agreements. Number one, be impeccable with your word. Number two, don't take things personally. Number three, always do your best. And number four, no, yeah, number three, don't make assumptions. And then number four, always do your best. And these four agreements, like I said again, it comes from this book right here. Truly life changing. I always tell people this is one of my favorite books that I've ever read because of the value that it has given me, because of the consciousness that it has allowed me to tap into, learning simple agreements that I can live by, which are very powerful and very useful throughout my lifetime, right? So I'm gonna get right into it because I think it's important that we truly understand this and how it is that we can use the four agreements in our life, right? I read this book, I would say back in 2018, 2019 for the first time. It was one of my first books that I ever read that truly, gave me a big breakthrough and allowed me to grow in areas that I didn't even think were possible. So if you're on this call, if you're on YouTube, if you're on Instagram, today we're going over the four agreements. And right now I'm going to be going over agreement number one. Okay, agreement number one is, write it down. Be impeccable with your word. Be impeccable with your word. Now, if we look up the definition of impeccable really quick, okay, if we look up the definition of impeccable, because, remember, guys, we can't just listen to what it tells us, right? It's telling us be impeccable with our word, but let's study that specific word, right? Let's study that specific sentence. If the first agreement is being impeccable with your word, well, let's study what impeccable is. Now, impeccable, okay, listen to this, is in accordance to it's in accordance to the highest standard. Okay, it is in accordance to the highest standard. So it's a behavior, it's a performance, it's an appearance, right? So when you're being impeccable, is you're holding yourself at the highest standard. You're keeping your word at the highest standard. Your word is everything. Okay. So a lot of people say, hey, Nano, I'm a man of my word. Nano, I'm a woman of my word. Okay. But we got to also remember, at what standard are you a man of your word and a woman of your word? Okay. Because the first agreement states that you got to be impeccable with your word, not just your word, right? It's about being impeccable with your word. So that means you got to hold it at the highest standard. I don't know about you guys, but did your parents ever tell you that your word is everything? Because my mom and dad always used to tell me that, especially my dad. He used to tell me growing up, he used to tell me in Spanish, he used to be like, lo único que tiene un hombre en la vida es su palabra. He used to always tell me that, right? And basically translated into English, he used to tell me the only thing a man has in this world is his word. Okay, he used to always tell me that growing up. Never understood it till I got older, right? He used to always say those things to me. Lo único que tiene el hombre en este mundo es su palabra, right? I understood that. I'm glad you did. And he would always tell me that, but I didn't understand now. But now that I've read the book, The Four Agreements, right? I just want to read something to you guys from the first page, right? When he says, you know, the four agreements, and then I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into it, right? So he says this. He says, the first agreement is the most important one and also the most difficult to honor. Okay. So this first agreement is the most difficult one. Everything else is a little bit easier, but this one is the most difficult one and the most difficult to honor. It is so important that with just this first agreement, you will be able to transcend to the level of existence I call heaven on earth. Listen to how powerful this is. Listen to how powerful you having a strong word, right? You being true to your word is. This first agreement will be able to transcend you to a level of existence that he calls heaven on earth. If you become a person of word, if you become a person that is true to their word and you are impeccable with your word, you'll be able to live heaven on earth. Now, put a one in the chat box if you want to live heaven on earth. Okay. You know, I'll tell you guys something about this book as well. In this book actually taught me that there's no such thing as a heaven or hell, right? It's supposedly, and this is what this book taught me. It gave me perspective on it, right? There's not like when people pass, you know how we have this conception that when we pass, we're either going to go to the sky to heaven or, you know, we're going to go underground to hell, right? This book taught me that heaven and hell is here on earth based off of your level of awareness. Okay, so if you live a life of abundance, freedom, peace, happiness, joy, you're living in heaven. You're living in a place of heaven. This is your consciousness, right? You're living heaven on earth. But if you're living in a place of fear, doubt, insecurity, hate, all of these negative and bad feelings, then that's when you're living hell on earth. Okay, so what this book basically taught me is you can pick and choose heaven or hell on earth based off of your level of consciousness. Based off of what this book is telling us that if you can be impeccable with your word, you can live heaven on earth. And now listen to this. Stay with me real quick. The first agreement is to be impeccable with your word. It sounds very simple, but it is very, very powerful. Why your word? Your word is the power that you have to create. Your word is the gift that comes directly from God. The Gospel of John in the Bible, speaking of the creation of the universe, says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word is God. This is deep stuff. You got to study this. I'm not going to go too deep into it because I want to give you guys examples and stuff. He says, through the word, you express your creative power. It is through the word that you manifest everything. Your intent manifests through your word. What you dream, what you feel, and what you really are will all be manifested through your word. Everything. Think about that. What you dream, what you feel, what you really are will all be manifested through the word. So being impeccable with your word is so important. Being impeccable with your word is everything. And when I first learned this, and obviously I had been taught this as I grew up throughout my life, but I was more taught being impeccable with my word, with telling somebody you're gonna do something and doing it, right? That was the way I was taught, right? My father used to always tell me, hey, if you tell somebody you're gonna do something for them, do it for them, right? If you tell somebody you're gonna pay them back at this time, pay them back at that time, right? I wasn't taught it on a deep level when he's talking about like creating your lifestyle out of it. And what I started to realize was that the words that I was using on a day-to-day basis, okay, were actually destroying my life instead of creating my life. Because the words that we're taught, the music that we listen to, the people around us, they're using very destructive words. Let me explain. Every time you use the word try, for example, I'm trying to be consistent. I'm trying to go to the gym. I'm trying. The word try, okay, isn't direct. It's either you do or you don't. So try, TRY, stands for truly resisting yourself. I'm trying to become better. I'm trying to go to the gym. I'm trying to lose weight. I'm trying. Those are destructive words. You either do or you don't. Okay? Every time we use the words, I can't speak in public. I can't wake up early. I can't. Those are things that are holding you back. My brother Glow in the chat here on Instagram, he says something powerful. People saying, yo, this is funny as hell. I am on demon time. Who says that stuff? Right? Think about the things that we're saying. If our words, let's go back to it really quick. Through the word, you express your creative power. Okay? Through your word, you express your creative power. Okay? It is through the word that you manifest everything. It is through the word. So if you're saying words like I try, you use words like I can't. You use these words that are basically casting spells. You got to remember, this is why so many people are in the position that they're in. A lot of people wonder, well, Neno, why am I here? Why am I struggling? Why are all these things happening to me? Believe it or not, it's because of your words. The words that you use on a day-to-day basis. This book right here, where is it? Where's my book at? Here it is. Right? What to say when you talk to yourself. It really talks about this stuff, right? It talks about the levels of self-talk, the words that we use that are literally destroying us, right? Level 1 of self-talk is using the words I can't, if only I could, or I wish I could. You know what that represents? That represents a problem but no solution. You can't do something. If only I could do something. I wish. When you wish for something, you're wishing for something, but you should be ready to receive something, not wishing for something. So that's what this book started to teach me. It started to teach me that I had to be very careful with my words. Now, remember, your words come from what you're thinking. What you're thinking represents what you speak. So I want you guys today, just a little test, guys. I want you guys today to pay attention to the things that people say. I want you to analyze today the words that people say. Think about what they say, because remember, what people say tells you a lot about the story that they tell themselves on a day-to-day basis. Sometimes when people come talk to me, I listen to what they say, but I'm listening to the story that they're telling themselves about themselves. Because the story that you tell yourself about yourself is the story that you live. Okay. It's a story that I know that you're repeating to yourself in your mind over and over and over again. Your story is everything. As a matter of fact, you could change your whole life by just changing the story you tell yourself about yourself. I've told this to so many people because look, I've had people that have came up to me and I love them. And I'm grateful that they come up to me and they say these things to me because I'm able to switch them. They'll come up to me and they'll be like, Nano, look, bro, I have a couple of questions for you, man. Right now, my life is in shambles. I'm struggling financially. I can't seem to, get a hang of this business. Everything is going against me. Everybody I talk to is saying no to me. Every trade I take is going in the negatives. My family is doubting me. My friends don't believe in me. Me and my husband and me and my girlfriend are arguing every single day. My bank account is not where I want it to be at. So while they're telling me this, I'm listening and I'm like, okay, I'm going to listen, but I'm listening to all the limiting beliefs and all the I can'ts and all this and that. And I can't wake up early because I have a job that I got to be at. And, it's just hard for me. And I'm listening to everything that they're telling me. And I'm just, okay, I hear the I can't. I hear the, I try my best sometimes to do these things. And I'm listening to the whole thing that they're telling me. And then all I know right off the back is that the only way for us to change this is through them changing the story that they're telling themselves. Because it's obviously that they're telling themselves a story that's holding themselves back. And your words, I'll repeat again, here it is. What does it say? Through the word, you express your creative power. Through the word, you manifest everything. Regardless of what language you speak, your intent manifests through the word. What you dream, what you feel, what you really are will all be manifested through the word. So think about that. You have to change the story. That's how I changed my life. A lot of people tell me, Nano, how did you do it? Well, I had to change the word because that used to be me. I used to be the one that used to say, yo, I can't wake up early. Yo, I'm struggling. When it rains, it pours. This, that. So I changed my story. Guys, I had to change my story. And then my story became, I am a successful business owner. Everything does work in my favor. Everything I touch turns into gold. I expect miracles and I get miracles. I have successful people joining my business every single day. I don't allow the opinions of people from the outside affect me. Okay. Everything I touch, everything I do is in alignment with my purpose. I am so grateful. I had to change the story that I was telling myself. Because if my words are going to manifest everything, so let my words, I'm going to pick the words that are going to help me manifest the things that I want, not the things that are going to destroy me. So my question for all of you guys on this call is, are you using words that are helping you create, or are you using words that are helping you destroy? Such a simple agreement, but such a powerful agreement. Okay. And it gets deeper than that too, guys, because think about this now. All right. Every time you say you're going to do something and you don't do it, you're destroying you. This is where I know for a fact that I've had some tough times in my life because I would destroy my confidence and my belief. Because think about this. Every time you say every time you say to yourself, you're going to do something and you don't do it, you know what ends up happening? You see, people only know about financial debt. We only know about financial debts. But did you guys know that there's actually something called spiritual debt? There's something called spiritual debt. And that spiritual debt usually comes from you telling yourself you're going to do things and you don't do it. All right. There's spiritual debt. And there was one time in my journey that for a long time I would say things I would say that I was going to do things and I wouldn't do it. I said I was going to go to the gym, I wouldn't go to the gym. I said I was going to wake up at this time, I didn't wake up at that time. I said I was going to prospect. I said I was going to build the business. I said. And for a lot of these times, I was just doing a lot of procrastination. So look at what ends up happening to people. Let me tell you guys what happens to most people. Most people spend months procrastinating, saying they're going to do things and they don't do them. So, because remember, spiritual debt, you can't see it. So, there's not like a bank account. There's not like a bank account that shows you, hey, you are negative so much in debt. You owe this much. There's no bank account. You can't see how much spiritual debt you're actually in. So, what ended up happening was I started to go to work. Okay. And I went month after month, yo, guys, grinding my face off, like no days off, every single day in the gym, morning routines, boom, 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 boom. And I remember going to my mentor and I said, yo, coach, like, yo, I've been working so hard. I've been working so hard every single day. I'm doing the routines. I'm going to the gym. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. And then he asked me a question that had stuck with me forever. He said, prior to you going on this 90-day run, how much spiritual debt do you think you collected? And I sat there and I'm like, what do you mean spiritual debt? I mean, yeah, I'm in debt. Like, you know, I owe a couple $1,000s in the bank, but I don't know what you're talking about, spiritual debt. He said, I'm not talking about finances. I'm talking about spiritual debt. I'm like, yo, I don't know what you're talking about. Can you explain what you mean by spiritual debt? He said, you collect spiritual debt every time you say you're going to do something and you don't do it. Because your spirit keeps track of it. You said you were going to feed your spirit a morning routine and you didn't do it. That's debt. You said you were going to feed your spirit with a good workout. You didn't go. You added in. And then he said, start thinking about how many times prior to you going on this prior to you going on this run, he said, I want you to think about how much debt you collected. He was like, how many months did you slack off for? And prior to that, I had slacked off for like 3 or 4 months. He said, you see, that's the thing. He said, these last 3 months that you've been working hard and all of this, and the reason why you still haven't seen any progress yet is because you've been paying off all the spiritual debt that you collected for those 3 or 4 months that you slacked off. And I'm like, sheesh. He said, it's like the bank. He said, if you were negative $300 in the bank, until you don't pay those $300 off and bring it back to zero and then start putting money into the account, that's when you're going to start to see progress. He said, the reason why you haven't seen progress yet is because you're still paying off all that spiritual debt. And I was like, so then how do I know when I've paid it off? He said, when you start seeing progress, when you start to see things actually work in your favor. He said, till then, you just got to keep doing it. And I remember that day like it was yesterday. And after that day, I was scared to slip up. I was scared to tell myself I was going to do something nowadays, if I'm not going to do it, I don't even say it. That's the truth. If I know I can't go to the gym 5 days out of the week, I wouldn't tell myself that I'm going to the gym 5 days out of the week because I don't want to add spiritual debt to myself. I don't. If I know I can't do something for you, if I know I can't show up somewhere, if I know I can't be up at that time, I will not tell myself, I will not speak it out there because I do not want the spiritual debt. And here's the message for all of you guys today. How much spiritual debt have you collected in 2024? How much spiritual debt have you collected this year, guys? It all came down to the things that you said you were going to do that you haven't done. Somebody said 12 years. Oh my God. You have a lot of debt to pay off. And look, let me be, and here's the kicker. Guys, it breaks my heart. I promise you it does. You know why? Because look, think about people that have collected all that debt for all those years, man. And then what ends up happening, look at what ends up happening. People want to change, obviously, right? Some people want to change. So people go and change. They're like, yo, you know what, Nano? I got to change. I got to change my life. Enough is enough. So they'll go and do a 30-day challenge, a 75 hard, 90 days, whatever it is. And you know what will happen? Nothing will change. Nothing will change. And they get discouraged and they're like, yo, I worked hard. I did this. I did that. I read the books. But my situation is the exact same. I'm still broke. I'm still not where I want to be at. I'm still working the same job. I still have the same friends. Nothing changed. But it's because they have so many years of debt that they have to pay off that then it becomes almost like, damn, I'm doing all this work. And then people end up giving up. I've seen it so many times. I almost gave up. Guys, I put in years of work. This is what I always tell people, yo, I would literally not take one day off. Saturday and Sundays had to be included because for me, I was obsessed with paying it all off. Look, Regine, I got super discouraged yesterday and literally was about to give up. Don't give up, Regine. Keep going. Trust me. You pay it off. The thing is, you can't be attached to the result. That's the thing. If you want to pay this off, if you want to get to the point where you start to see the changes and you start to see things, you got to keep going until. Remember, this is a personal development journey. Most people, guys, put in our positions there don't want to go through this. This is not an easy journey. Why, guys, let's be real quick. Why you think only 3%, 3 to 5% of the world becomes successful? Think about that. 3 to 5%. Love you more, Papi. Right? Only 3 to 5%. There's a reason why. Think about that. Not, the other 95% never get a chance to live the life that they truly want. Only 3 to 5% get a chance to. Why do you think the numbers are so big in difference? Let's just say 5% live the life. Because not everybody's willing to go through that journey. It's hard. It's difficult. It takes years. I'm not here to tell you guys that your life is going to change in 1 month. I'd be lying to you guys if I told that. That would be me setting the wrong expectation, telling you guys that your life can change in 1 year. Can your habits change in 1 year? Yes. Can your way of thinking change in 1 year? Possibly. But it's going to take years of consistently applying the proper habits, applying the proper techniques, the proper self-talk, the proper books, the proper everything over a period of time for your life to change. For real, for real. That's the thing. And most people aren't willing to spend that time. Most people aren't willing to spend that time. This is why we got to make a decision and stick to it. Every time you don't show up for yourself, you're adding spiritual debt to yourself. Every time, because what are you doing to feed your spirit? You're hurting your spirit every time that you say you're going to do something and you don't do it. It's facts. I feel you, Candace. It's so hard to consistently choose purity. I know it is. It is so hard. But you know what's also hard? Staying broke is hard. You know what else is hard? Having a negative mindset is hard. So we have to choose our hard. Right? We got to choose our hard. That's what my mentor told me. He said, no, getting rich is hard. Being broke is hard. Which one you want to do? I said, bro, I'd rather get rich. I'd rather choose that one because I already been broke for my whole life, majority of my life. I'm already tired of this hard. Yo, that hard is difficult, so I got to choose my heart. Let me go get rich. And not rich because of the money or the clothes or anything. No, rich because of the person I got to become rich. So number one is be impeccable with your word. This summer, these next 90 days of the summer that we're going into, make it your goal to be number one, impeccable with your word. That's number one. Okay. Number two, don't take anything personally. Don't take anything personally. Right? Let's talk about not taking anything personally, right? Let me go to the second agreement right here really quick. Right? Listen to this. He says the next three agreements are really born from the first agreement. The second agreement is don't take anything personally. Listen to this. Whatever happens around you, don't take it personally. Using an earlier example, if I see you on the street and I say, hey, you are stupid without knowing you, it's not about you, it's about me. If you take it personally, then perhaps you believe you are stupid. Maybe you think to yourself, how does he know? Is he clairvoyant, or everybody see how stupid I am? If you take it personally because you agree with whatever was said, then you are. He's basically saying is don't take anything in your life personal. If somebody says something to you, it's not about you, it's about them. Okay, stay with me here. When things happen in life, I've learned, this was one of the most valuable lessons that I learned throughout my journey, was not to take anything personal. Because remember, everybody lives in their own world. Everybody has their own problems. Everybody has their own situations. Everybody has their own insecurities and their own doubts and their own fears. So if you allow the people around you to affect you with their words and you take them personal, then you believe what they say about you is true. If you allow the circumstances that happen in your life to destroy you, then it's because you're taking it personal. Okay. And I know this is hard because growing up for me, if you did something to me, it was personal. So for me, this went against what I used to believe. Yo, if you did something to me and you said something disrespectful to me, that's personal to me. So I would have to get back at you kind of thing, right? I'm from the hood, so that's kind of like the mentality that I've always had. Yo, if you say something to me, it's personal now. So what I had to learn was with the four agreements was don't take anything personal. And what I started to realize was that it's true. What people say about you, it's not true. It's what they say, is what they say about themselves. If somebody tells you you can't do something, it's not that you can't do it, it's that they believe they can't. So they're trying to impress their doubts and their fears onto you. Okay? Start paying attention to the things that people say about you. Most of the things that people say about you is how they feel about themselves. But they're trying to impress their doubts, their fears, and their insecurities onto you. That's how it works. You know how many people told me, Nano, you can't do this business. You can't become a digital entrepreneur. There's no way you're going to be able to move to Miami. There's no way that you're going to be able to become a public speaker. Most people fail in what you do. Go stay at a secure job, bro. Go. Everybody told me, remember, what they were doing was they were expressing their fears. They were projecting their insecurities onto me, hoping that I would buy them. But you know what I would do? I wouldn't take anything personal. Got it, fam. I am successful, though. I am going to be a public speaker. I am a successful digital entrepreneur. Yes, 97% fail. Facts. It's the truth. But I'm the 3% that succeeds. You see the difference? Instead of me buying into the 97% of people fail, I rejected that. I didn't take it personal, and I told myself I'm the 3% that succeeds. Instead of me buying into the ideas that they said, hey, you can't become this, I would say I can become that. But notice how it goes hand in hand with the first agreement. You see how it goes hand in hand with the first agreement? You got to learn not to take anything personal. I remember when my mom and dad, the people closest to me were telling me, I don't see this business working for you. Go get yourself a job, blah, 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 blah. I couldn't take it personal because I have to understand that they don't understand how this works. All they know is what they know. So if they see me working every single day on my laptop and I'm still not making any money, they don't understand that sometimes in entrepreneurship, you got to work without pay so you can get paid without work. They didn't understand that though. Sometimes you go to your friends and your family, you tell them about what you do, the journey that you're on, and they may laugh at you. They may tell you that what you do is a scam or that it doesn't work, that it's impossible, that you should do something real and that you should be realistic. Don't take it personal. They just don't know any better. You know how many times people told me, be realistic, bro. There's no way. Be realistic. You can't take it personal. Some people are not on the same conscious level as you. Okay? They're not. So they can never understand why you think and operate the way that you do. They can never. Even if they tried, they couldn't. Because they haven't taken the time to focus on themselves. You know how many people used to tell me, Nino, why do you got to go to the park every single day, bro? Why are you meditating every day? Why are you writing your goals on every day? That stuff doesn't work. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about that. People would say these things to me, but you know what I couldn't do? I couldn't take it personal because I knew they didn't understand. How am I going to explain to people that going to the park, meditating every day, writing your goals down, reading a couple pages of a good book, listening to audios is what's going to change their life? When they grew up their whole lives doing the complete opposite. It's hard for some people to even embrace and even think about that is what's going to change their life. So when I used to tell people that, they used to just laugh about it. And they used to just be like, I wish you nothing but the best. I pray that it works out for you. But I couldn't take it personal. I had to understand that my friends and family weren't going to understand. Had to understand that a lot of people around me were going to probably laugh at me and talk against me. But I couldn't take anything personal. This agreement teaches us that nothing others do is because of us. It's a reflection of their own reality, their own fears, and their own beliefs. I told my mentor, I told one of my leaders this yesterday. I told him, I said, you know what's the hardest thing about getting to the top? Is getting through the crowd at the bottom. Don't take anything personal, bro, on your way to the top. The hardest thing about getting to the top is getting through the crowd at the bottom. Because the crowd at the bottom is like the bucket of crabs. They're gonna try to bring you back down. They're gonna try to bring you back down. So you gotta remember this. Okay, you gotta remember these things, fam. I promise you. The hardest thing about getting to the top is getting through the crowd that's at the bottom. Don't take anything personally. Don't let the fears of other people be installed onto you. Don't let other people's beliefs become your beliefs. Just because they don't believe they can't do it doesn't mean you can. Just always remember that. Just because they can't publicly speak doesn't mean you could publicly speak. You gotta remember this. You are on your own personal development journey. And a lot of people won't understand. And remember, if you buy someone's opinion, you buy their lifestyle. If you buy someone's opinion, you buy their lifestyle. You can't buy people's opinion. You can't, because you'll buy their lifestyle. And if their lifestyle is not one that you want to live, then guess what? It's not going to work for you. Okay. You got to remember that. Okay. So that's the second agreement, which is don't take anything personally. All right. Who's still with me here? Put some twos in the chat box if you are still with me. Yeah. Go at your journey at your own pace. I agree. 100%. Right. What's number three? Agreement number three is don't make assumptions. That's number three. Don't make assumptions. All right. This one is important, right? Because this agreement basically, you got to remember, assumptions lead to misunderstandings, it leads to conflicts, and it leads to missed opportunities. All right. That's what the third agreement does. Making assumptions leads to misunderstandings, conflicts, and missed opportunities. Because this agreement encourages us to ask questions, to seek clarification, and communicate openly instead of making unfounded assumptions. I started to really learn this, to always ask first instead of assume first. Most people assume. I'm so glad that I learned this agreement right here specifically, because I used to be somebody that always assumed. I was a big assumer, if that's a word. I used to assume a lot, assume this, assume that. But then I started to really realize that I needed to seek clarification and ask questions and communicate openly. This is big for my people in relationships. This is big for my people in businesses. Don't assume. Don't assume that people know everything. Don't assume that people are making money. Don't assume. Seek the clarification. As a matter of fact, let me tell you guys this. One of my biggest breakthrough, one of my first big breakthrough that I had, I call it an aha moment. It happened while I was reading this book back in 2019, right before I started Mornings with Nano. I was at the beach, Laguna Beach. I remember the exact place. It's actually the first episode to my podcast. It's called The Day That Changed Everything. I was reading the book, Four Agreements, and I was on the third chapter, which was Don't Make Assumptions. And I had such a great meditation and reading and journal session that I remember going home. On the way home, I remember telling myself, sheesh, bro, I'm making a lot of assumptions. And I started to think, and then I got a phone call from one of my team members, I remember, and he just happened to tell me something that kind of just opened the door in my mind and gave me all these answers. And I remember sitting there and realizing that I had been making a lot of assumptions in my business. I had been assuming that people were being launched correctly and onboarded correctly. I was assuming that people were making money. I was assuming that people knew the skills to become successful. I was assuming that people were happy. I was assuming that everybody knew the schedule. I was assuming. But the book says, seek clarification, ask questions, communicate openly. And when I did, I realized that people weren't making money, that people weren't being onboarded correctly, that people weren't happy. But I was assuming they were. And that's why my business was stuck where it was. But when I went and seek the clarification, I realized that, guess what? It wasn't what I thought it was. It wasn't what I was assuming. So now what I did was I ended up designing a whole system around what I clarified. Remember, I was assuming, now I clarified. Once I clarified what was going on in my life and in my business, I went from having a $2,000 a month business to a $12,000 a month business. My life changed in 60 days. What was holding me back was my assumptions. My assumptions were keeping my business at me earning only $2,000 a month because I was assuming. But when I clarified it, I went from making 2K a month to 12,000 a month. My income 6x. Is it 6x? Yeah, it's 6x. Yeah, 6x. So I went from being stuck at a $2,000 a month income to $12,000 a month just by changing the idea of me assuming things. I used to assume so much. That was the day that changed everything for me because I realized that I was living my life off of the wrong assumptions. Okay? Because it's good. Now, for any of you guys that know, one of my favorite books, The Power of Awareness, talks about the power of assumption. But it talks about the power of assumption in a positive light, not in a negative light. I was assuming in a negative light. That's why it was keeping me in the same level. Now listen to this. He says the third agreement is don't make assumptions. We have the tendency to make assumptions about everything. The problem with making assumption is that we believe they are true. We could swear they are real. We make assumptions about what others are thinking. Oh no, we make assumptions about what others are doing or thinking. We take it personally. Then we blame them by reacting and sending emotional poison with our words. That is why whenever we make assumptions, we're asking for problems. When we make an assumption, we misunderstand, we take it personally, and we end up creating a whole big drama for nothing. It's important, right? If you're always making assumptions, it creates a lot of drama. I was in a relationship a couple years ago that was filled with a lot of assumptions. It was terrible. It's the worst feeling ever. Imagine someone always assuming that you're doing something when you're not doing anything. It's the worst feeling in the world. I used to feel like, damn, bro, like I literally just been home. I just went outside to walk my dog, but somebody's assuming that I'm doing something behind their back. It was the worst thing ever, right? Instead of the person clarifying if I was doing that or not, instead they would choose to assume and believe it. And believe it. That's the worst part about it, is when they believe the assumptions that are not even true, and now they live by that and they treat you as such. It was the worst feeling ever. Okay. So for my people who are in relationships, please don't assume, because you could be destroying your partner without knowing. You could be destroying your partner without knowing. Instead of assuming, clarify, ask questions, and open communication every single day. Instead of assuming, don't assume in your business. Don't assume with your family. Don't assume in your relationships. Don't assume. Ask. Seek clarification. Because, like he says right here, then what happens is, look, you take it personally, then you blame them, and you react by sending emotional poison with your word. Never make assumptions. Clarify that. And look, we all go through it. I get it. We have to go through things, and especially nowadays in this world that we live in with all this Instagram and all these temptations and all these things. I know it's hard. I know it's hard to believe. And a lot of people have messed up mindsets, and they grew up in different, environments that have caused them to think that the way that they think. And, but make sure that you're not assuming. You're not assuming, but you are clarifying. You are communicating openly. This is super important. Don't assume. Do not assume. Clarify. That's number 3. And then last but not least, number 4. The fourth agreement is always do your best. Okay, always do your best. It's my favorite book. When people ask me, "Nano, what's your favorite book?" I like this book because it's simple and it gave me so much value, and it's short as well. I mean, this book is only what pages? This book is only a total of about 100, literally 140 pages. Short but powerful book. Number 4, always do your best. He says there's only just one more agreement, but it's the one that allows the other 3 to become deeply ingrained habits. The 4th agreement is about the action of the first 3. Always do your best. Under any circumstances, always do your best. No more or no less. But keep in mind that your best is never going to be the same from one moment to the next. Everything is alive and changing all the time. So your best will sometimes be high quality and other times it will not be as good. When you wake up refreshed and energized in the morning, your best will be better than when you are tired at night. Your best will be different when you are healthy as opposed to sick, or sober opposed to drunk. Your best will depend on whether you are feeling wonderful. Sorry about that, guys. Right? I understood that. I had to always do my best, right? Regardless of what was happening in my life. Okay? Because a lot of us, perfection is something that is hard to accomplish. But if you strive to do your best in every single situation, that's all you can do. You can't be perfect, but you can do your best to come as close to perfect as you can. That's what I've learned. My mentor always told me that, Nano. He said, you can't be perfect, bro, but do your best to come as close to perfect as you can. Strive to do your best in every single situation. Focus on continuous improvement. Right? Yo, you did your morning routine only 3 times this week. Yo, let's do it 4 times next week. You only wrote down your goals in the morning this week. Yo, let's start doing it morning and night next week. Always look for improvement. Don't stay the same. Do not stay the same. Always strive for excellence. I'll be honest with you guys. I'm not excellent all the time. I don't hit my morning routine all the time. I don't go to the gym all the time. Like, I know you guys may look at me and, I'm the one that, I get a chance to do these trainings and these amazing things for you guys. But yo, I'm figuring this stuff out with you guys as I go. I still go through tough times. I still go through challenges. I'm still inconsistent in certain areas in my life. I am. I truly am. This is me telling you guys the truth. I'm not perfect. I don't want you guys to look at me and be like, yo, Neno got it all figured out, because I really don't have it all figured out. I'm not even close to having it all figured out. Am I more consistent? Am I more disciplined? Have I learned this information more? Have I been able to apply this information more over the years? And yes, absolutely. Right? Have I made incredible amounts of progress? Yes. But I'm still figuring it out. I'm still not at the best version of myself. Okay? And I want you guys to understand that. I want you guys to embrace that and know that, yo, you just got to keep doing your best every single day. And I live by those agreements. I know that every day I got to be impeccable with my word. I know that every day I can't take anything personal. I know that every day I can't make assumptions, and I know that every day I got to show up as my best version. You can apply this to your professional life. You can apply this to your business life, to your family life, to your relationship, to everything. You can apply these 4 agreements. You can literally apply these 4 agreements to every area of your life. You can live by these agreements. Trust me, you can. I live by them still to this day. I always do my best. I make sure that every day I do my best to be impeccable with my word. I do my best every day to not take anything personal. I do my best every day to not make assumptions. Those right there are the 4 agreements, and you can live by these. This is the power behind these. And if you have not read this book, like I said again, add this book to the list of books that you're going to read this year. This book will truly change your life. I'm telling you. If you've been looking for your next book, I just gave it to you. If you're reading a book right now and you need a powerful book to put you in position to win this summer, read that book. Watch what will happen to you. All right, guys. So with that being said, put some 444s in the chat box. If you guys got value from today's training, I do apologize about the inconvenience with YouTube. It is out of my control. I'll make sure we get that fixed so that we can be back with another powerful episode. Some of you guys probably didn't even realize that there was some things, but I can't even see how I look on this screen. So I've been trying to like give both of you guys some attention and, just for camera and purposes, make sure that everybody's Gucci, but don't take anything personal, fam. Grow to be that best version of yourself. And I love you guys and I appreciate you guys a lot. All right. So with that being said, I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your days. I pray you guys have a beautiful weekend as well. Guys, please subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed. Share this with a friend, share this with a family member. We are close. I think we're about 120 people away from 10,000 subscribers. So help me get there. And I'm going to do a quick prayer for us right now. I know we're going to pray for Sonia as well. So we will definitely do that. Yes, I got you. And the name of the book is called The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. All right, fam. So let's finish up this amazing call with a quick prayer. 100 exactly. Yeah, exactly. We just need 100 more. So help me get there, guys. Please share this. I appreciate you guys. Quick prayer. Everybody bow your heads and let's pray. Father God, thank you so much for allowing us to wake up on this beautiful Thursday morning. We are all so thankful for your guidance and your grace. Thank you for teaching us the four agreements and allowing us to find simple agreements that we can live by, starting with being impeccable with our word and staying true to everything that we say. We understand that the word is you, and that most importantly, we must continue to speak the proper words so that we can go out there and create the reality that we want. We ask that you give us the discernment so that we can pick the proper words to choose throughout the day and throughout our lifetime, throughout our conversations to create our reality. We are so thankful from the bottom of our hearts for all that you're doing for us. We also want to pray for Sonia, and we want to pray for her health. We want to pray that you put your healing hand over her and you guide her in this process of challenge. You guide her in this process of trials, because we know that, you put your toughest soldiers through the toughest battles. And I know that she's a soldier. I know that she's strong, and I know she's going to make it through it because she has you in her corner. And anyone else on this call that needs any guidance, that needs that healing hand, any of the family members from any of our community that needs a healing hand, we pray that you put your healing hand on them, Father, and you cure them and you heal them of anything that's not serving them, Father. Thank you for everything that you do for this community. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your protection. Thank you for it all. From the bottom of our heart and on behalf of this whole entire community, we are thankful. We love you and we appreciate you. In God's name we pray. Amen. 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 I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. And we're praying for your mom, bro. I love you, my manito. You already know how it is. And guys, make sure you guys keep Sonia in your prayers as well. She's family. If she's a part of our community, she's a family member, and we pray for our people here. And we know that everybody's going to continue to grow, continue to elevate, and continue to heal from what they go through. I love you guys. I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Everything will be fixed by then. And regardless of the challenges that were thrown in our way, we still found a way to make it happen. I appreciate you guys for rocking it out with me, regardless of the circumstances. You guys are real ones. Love you guys. Have a good weekend.